Oh, and for the first time that I'm saying this, welcome to Tiny Treefort. It's a celebration of everything Frame Fatals. I'm here with a variety pack. How are you doing today?
And I will again respond for the first time that I'm doing quite well. How are you doing?
Yeah, nobody heard that before. This is the first time we do it in one. I'm doing great, and I heard that a sequel to this game came out, so I thought it might be a fun little thing to show off the first game so you all have context going into the second game. So tonight, it's all Octopath, all night long, or at least until we're done with the 2 games.
Sounds good to me.
Sweet. Then in that case, whenever you'd like to get started.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is A Variety Pack, and I will be performing Octopath Traveler 1, all first chapters, which is a interesting category that is not oft talked about. As it might imply, we are going to be completing the first 8 chapters of every single one of the characters in this game, of which there are 8. We're going to begin with Cyrus, for reasons that will become apparent as we go along. But in preparation, let's get a countdown ready. We're going to begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, so what makes the speedrun like? So I played this game a little bit, right? And I thought the combat was super cool. What does the speedrun do to sort of work around? I mean, because it isn't an RPG run, obviously. So
yes, so this is an RPG run, but I have had qualms with our other RPG runs in the past. I consider this run to be quite the exception, though, in the sense that it's sort of a microcosm of what makes RPG speedrunning. You're going to see us sort of abuse endgame items to beat bosses very early, and you're also going to see us get through a lot of the things that you might expect from an RPG speedrun. Very high-level things against low-level enemies. And to do that, we're going to be utilizing this game's rather unique mechanics. The first thing we're going to be doing as we move along through Cyrus in the town of Atlasdam is utilize Cyrus's path action. Those are basically unique abilities that are character-specific. We're going to be using Scrutinize on all of these townspeople here to try to find out who stole a book. I promise I will not delve into plot all too much, but this is going to be very important. Scrutinize is one ability that allows us to sort of affect things in the world of Octopath as well. Think of them as HMs from older Pokemon games.
Interesting.
What this will allow us to do is scrutinize random people on the street, which sounds rather forceful, perhaps, but it's going to be for a good speedrun cause in the sense that it'll allow us to find items that are not typically available in plain sight, and we're going to need to use this scrutinize ability.
Oh, so even if you know where it is, you still have to scrutinize first. Interesting.
That is correct. We're actually going to be doing it a couple times right before we head into the first dungeon of the game to finish Cyrus's first chapter. We're going to scrutinize this guard. He's going to put a little shiny thing over to the left there, and we're not actually going to pick it up yet because it's not quite the fastest way to do it. And then we're going to do something slightly questionable and scrutinize this small 10-year-old girl here. She's going to be dropping a very important item for us that we will absolutely need. It is called a Light Soulstone M, and you will see the power of such an item a little bit later down the run. We're also going to buy the Quartz Rod and equip it immediately, so we have a little bit of extra magic power going into the first boss. And now, since we have done our optimal routing, we will pick up this Soulstone, which is a light Soulstone, but it's small, not medium, and head into the Subterranean Study. Now, when I said that this was a microcosm of RPG speedrunning, it does indeed imply that there are some late-game items used against early-game bosses. However, it's also a microcosm in the sense that there is going to be a lot of luck involved. Although it is far more manageable luck, and we actually got something pretty bad already. When you enter a battle, it can be either a normal battle, you can be caught by surprise, or you can surprise your foe. 2 of those options are good. Getting surprised is really bad because it gives the enemy an extra turn to attack, which is not bad in terms of our health or safety of the run, but it is bad in terms of just being fast. So we're going to try to avoid getting that, and by try, I mean just pray that we don't actually end up getting any of those. Ideally, in the Subterranean Study, we're going to be getting 3 encounters. ideally against these lantern guys. If we see ambling bones or a skeleton, that's really bad. It may not seem like it's a big difference, but we're actually going to be grinding what's called JP, also known as job points. The reason for that is we're going to need a lot of them, precisely 130 of them, to get all of the abilities that we need in this game to be particularly optimal. We're going to pick up yet another small soulstone in this chest, and sort of walk around in a circle before we actually head into the first boss, or no need to. Alright, we got a lantern, that's very good. We did not get any ambling bones this time. And we're just finishing off with a couple abilities that we're going to be, I will explain during the first boss fight. Combat looks a little bit idiosyncratic to this game, and it is, and I'll be sure to explain that as we go along into the fight against Russell, and finish off Cyrus's first chapter. Alright, so every enemy in this game has shield points, and if you attack enemies with the correct weakness, those shield points will be reduced by 1 or how many attacks you actually put into the game. You can see, for example, that these wisps on the left are weak to fire and electric, and we're going to break them because we're using a fire attack on their 1 shield point, so it'll be reduced to 0, meaning that they will be broken, they cannot attack for 1 turn. When they're broken, they actually take maximum damage from every single one of your attacks, and we're going to use one of our light soulstones to take them out. So we're only facing 1 enemy this time. We're going to use Ice Wind once, because Russell is actually weak to ice, so we're going to break down his shield points very gradually. The run route is suggesting that I do heal, and I think that's a great idea. Russell's Monargan Incantation, which basically means he's going to do a very strong attack on the next turn. It's not really going to be that strong, so I'm not particularly worried, especially after healing.
Combat in this game, I really like a lot. The way that it's it's like a mix of like a traditional RPG while being a little bit of a combat puzzle. Really cool.
Exactly, I love it. So I'm going to do something now called boosting my attack. If you take a look at the top right-hand side of the screen, you can see that my boost points, my BP, are going up and down. You can use boost points to double the amount, or increase the number of times you attack with physical attack, or exponentially increase the damage that you do with your magic attacks. I'm going to use 2 boost points there to break the enemy, and use another light soulstone to do, again, maximum damage for the soulstone. Since Russell is not weak to light, but because he's broken, he will take the maximum amount of damage from that soulstone anyway. We have full boost points, so we're going to now break him with our new boost. And we should be able to finish him off with our maximum boost BP times 3 fireball attack. Let's see if it takes it out. Very good.
I also like that this game is kind of a return to form in like classic RPG bosses, often just being dudes but really big.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very fun meme to say every so often, wow, that's such a big enemy. But there are enemies that actually should be big. We're going to be fighting a big snake later, so it only makes sense that the snake is big. Unfortunately, despite having beat the final boss, we do actually have to finish the chapter, which means finishing up the story, but thankfully this game included a feature which is you simply hold the B button and you can skip literally any cutscene in this game, which is very, very nice for speedrunners.
As somebody who runs Pokemon, I am very jealous of that, I will say.
Yes. I did my first any percent for Sword and Shields a while back, and my thumb hurt at the end.
Sword and Shield has some cutscene moments for sure.
Cutscenes in quotation marks. Just mashing fists. Alright, so you might remember that stuff about JP. So we now have 30 of it, and we're going to unlock Lightning Blast. Ideally, we don't have to use this at all, but because we did, if we encounter enemies that require breaking with lightning, we now have access to that. We only had fire and ice before, but now with lightning, we have an additional way of breaking enemies if we need to sort of get past them.
Now we're heading off to meet another person to do their first chapter, right?
Very close. We're actually going to be doing something very RNG reliant right before that. So these are enemies that we can take out with lightning. They are weak to lightning, so we're actually going to do that just for safety. What's unfortunate about this next section is that we're going to be entering the Whistlewood, I believe it's called. And what that entails is getting a 20% chance of getting either bugs or owls. We're also going to be picking up a little bit of money just for down the line, but it's really just a 20% chance. I will reset for this 3 times, I think, but if I don't get a 20% chance after that, I'm just going to keep doing grinding as intended. And we did actually get a good encounter. Hopefully we don't get stopped. We were caught by surprise. As you might remember, that means that we're going to be having to wait for all the enemies to attack first, and because we're in such a high-level area, it's going to immediately eviscerate us.
Uh-oh.
I will try it a couple more times just to see if we can get it without having to do any extra grinding, but if that so happens to be what we need to do, that's okay. And the way that we're on... Well, I guess I should preface it by saying, you might remember me saying that we're in a very high-level area. Oh, this is a good encounter. What are we doing here? Oh, I surprised my foe this time. This is very, very good.
So is that just random? Who surprises who?
It's extremely random, yes.
Oh, cool.
And so you might remember me scrutinizing that young child from Atlasdam with a light soulstone medium. This is an extremely powerful item for this early in the game. They all die. And that's extremely important, because this means that I have enough JP to unlock another skill. It doesn't really matter which one. And we're going to equip a support skill. You unlock support skills the more normal abilities that you unlock. We're going to equip the one that makes Cyrus the fastest character to start with in all first chapters. It is called Evasive Maneuvers, and it's basically, again, to make another Pokemon analogy, it's basically a repel. It makes enemies significantly less likely to encounter you randomly, which is going to be very useful so we don't actually have to waste time running and getting into fights and stuff like that, because running in this game, I might as well explain this now, is extremely awful. As I asked the Discord recently just to make sure that I had my information correct, and no one seems to know what lets you run from an enemy encounter in this game. People think that it has to do with level. If you're a Pokemon nerd like I am, you might think that it has to do with speed. No one really knows, unfortunately, so if we get into an encounter, we're just gonna have to pray that we run. There's nothing we can really do about it, except for one thing. You can actually break enemies, if you might remember breaking, that process that I described during the first boss fight. You can break all the enemies on screen and you will be guaranteed a run away from an enemy. Now, that being said, that's not always easy to do, because you just need to make sure you have the correct abilities available to you at any given time, in addition to the fact that there might be multiple enemies on the screen. We've only been fighting 1 or 2 at a time, but there might be a lot of them, so getting them all broken at once can be difficult sometimes.
Alright, so what's the second one we're doing? What's our second first chapter?
That is a great question. We're actually going to sort of... see, this is what I mean. Sometimes you just get into encounters and you can't do anything about it. So this particular enemy is weak to Ice Wind, but it has 2 shield points, so it is faster to just hope that we run. Oh my gosh. Okay, thank God. So you actually saw me go into the Ice Realm, Frostlands, I believe it's called, and go into the first chapter area of another character named Ophelia. We're actually not going to do Ophelia for a very long time. We're going to do her last. We're going to actually go to that area, as well as Rippletide, where Tressa is, simply because we can teleport to there after we do our errands for the rest of the run. Those errands, of course, being finding extremely high-level items and strategies that will completely destroy all of the early enemies in this game. So, after we do a little bit of... Oh, gosh. That was completely the wrong direction. After we do a little bit of shopping and looting, etc., we will hopefully be in a position to take out all the rest of the enemies without too much trouble. I don't like Birdians. For some reason, I always feel like I never run away from Birdians, so I'm going to be using that process that I explained earlier, where if all the enemies on the screen are broken, you can run away freely. There's no run check, I suppose you could say.
I like that it does that. I feel like that makes sense.
Obviously, that's very slow to do in a speedrun. Ideally, you don't have to do that at all, but for a marathon, quote-unquote marathon setting, I might as well do it. I'm going to pick up a little bit of extra money here. That's not required, but just in case it's on the way, I might as well. And we're going to go and tag Cobbleston, I believe the place is called, where Ulbrich's first chapter is. But again, we will not actually do his chapter quite yet, so we have a lot more looting to do.
I do love a run, like an RPG run where it's like, okay, we're gonna get all these warp points, we're gonna grab a bunch of stuff, and then we're just gonna blitz through all the stuff we actually have to do.
That is essentially what we're going to be doing for the vast majority of this run. Now, obviously, because you're basically just A, relying on RNG, and B, just bowling your way through all of the major enemies in this game, it might seem like a bit of an odd and perhaps boring speedrun. I disagree, though. I think that if you want to get into RPG speedrunning, this might be a good first stint into it, simply because it is pretty low level, pretty low stakes all the way around, and gosh, this game is just beautiful. I love how it looks and it sounds.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely, like, artistically fantastic.
Alright, so we're in a level 17 place, which is very scary. We're only level 6, so we're going to be performing what's called a step reset. By going into the save menu, and simply leaving the game and coming back into it, we can basically reset the number of steps that the game thinks that we're going to in order to get in a random encounter. So the game was probably going to give us a random encounter on the way to our next destination, and by performing a step reset, we can tell the game, nope, we're actually going to be starting from here instead of the opening or the beginning of that particular route. It is possible to get from the top of that screen all the way down to the bottom here, but it is very, very fraught. I have lost runs because I thought I could make it, but one wrong move and even just sometimes randomness will just make that an unfeasible option.
Oof.
So we're going to be performing the safe way of doing it. Luckily, you do not need to do a step reset for the next place we're going to, but it is going to be a very dangerous place. It is a level 45 area, so that is not correct. Oh, no, not quite yet. We're still on level 17. 45 is coming up, though.
I think when they do, like, you know how they have, like, the chart for, like, fire risk safety?
Mm-hmm.
And they should use the same system as in this game.
It would be very... It would appeal to the gamers, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Like, we should all appeal to the gamers.
Danger level 45, risk of fires.
Alright, so you might remember those light soulstones we were getting before. We actually picked up a light soulstone large, so you can imagine how powerful that's going to be later down the line. This is a very unnecessary step reset, but I figured instead of risking everything for the biscuit, we're just going to perform yet another step reset.
Makes sense in a safe sort of setting.
I'm actually very happy that we got the correct encounter in the Whistlewood. It is, again, a 20% chance, so it's not super likely. So I'm glad that I did not have to spend extra time just grinding out in the wilds. Alright, so this is Shrine of the Runeblade, which you might have seen have a level 50-something danger level. Thankfully, evasive maneuvers is so powerful that we can just sort of make our way all the way to the end here to pick up a little bit of extra cash, specifically 50,000 leaves. And now we can make our way all the way back to Rippletide to do Tressa's first chapter. After doing the first chapter, you're going to see a lot of them hammered out, one after the other. So when recruiting another character, you need to be extremely, extremely cautious. You want to obviously recruit the character. You do not want to say yes to this prompt. Here at the beginning of the tale, we're going to see it 7 additional times. If you hit yes...
I can see how that would be bad.
Yes, you have to watch the incredibly long introductory, here's this character's backstory cutscene. And it is not skippable, you must play it. Thankfully, you can just leave and come back because the autosaves in this game are relatively charitable. However, you don't want to find yourself in that position. I lost a run recently during practice to doing that, so I am glad that I'm going to be extra judicious with my button presses.
Yeah,
we're going to be going to the...
people really want to see all the backstories.
It's possible, but with an estimate of 50 minutes, I would severely advise against that. Alright, we did not get the great turn order here. on this particular path, it's almost guaranteed that you get an encounter against a Birdian. Ideally, you want Tressa to actually go first in the turn order, because doing a spear attack takes less time than doing a fire or an electric attack to break the enemy and run away. I did not get that. I had to use Cyrus first, which is not a huge deal. So, if you're a fan of RPG speedrunning, what's coming up next is going to be the RPG speedrunner's bread and butter. We are in the caves of... No, yes, that. But in particular, that large soulstone that we got before is going to come in extremely handy with the next fight against Mick and Mac. Two very boisterous pirates, shall we say. You remember how much light soulstone did? It did 400. A medium soulstone did around 1700. Light soulstones, even against enemies that resist light, are going to take an extremely high amount of damage. So this is the second boss fight. Look at them. They're very big and very scary. But not as scary as this. So that's the fight over with. And this is effectively going to be the rest of the run. The only thing we have to worry about at this point is making sure that we don't forget to do anything that we need to do, in addition to just not getting in encounters. So it becomes a little bit of a luck game from here on out, but that's what makes it exciting, I guess.
I honestly, I am a big fan of all speedruns being a little bit of game of chance.
You can't be too optimal, those Mario runners.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what's if it's just pure execution and then the fates have no input, then where's the spice?
Yeah, we need the spice. Can't just have salt and pepper your entire life. Alright, so like I said, we actually do have to finish the story portion of everyone's chapters, even though we did beat the boss. So we're going to do that by leaving the town and then immediately running back into town. Tressa's path action is called Purchase. So in addition to scrutinizing an item from an NPC, we can also purchase their held items. Thankfully, we picked up $50,000 in the Runeblade cave, otherwise this would be impossible. So we're going to scrutinize, and as you can see, we had a 70% chance of successfully doing it. Good. There have been times where I've been very careful, or very close to not meeting the quota. It's a 70% chance, and if you fail 5 times, your run is dead. So hopefully that's a very low chance of failure, but it is possible.
0.3 to the 5th. That is a 0.2% chance.
It's definitely happened to someone out there. I guarantee it. So you might be wondering why we tagged this particular location all the way back when we were doing our shopping spree. And it's because we're actually going to be doing the shopping spree now. With all of our newfound money, we're going to be purchasing all of these gigantic soulstones. And as you saw in the Mick and Mac fight, soulstones are extremely overpowered, and we're going to be making use of that property for effectively the rest of the run. Make sure we purchase only the things that we need, because we have relatively limited money, although I did pick up a little bit extra just in case. Pick up all these soulstones, and that should be it. We should be now ready to head over to Ulbrich and do his first chapter. Ulbrich's path action is, I believe, Challenge, which lets you fight enemies on screen, which is very confrontational and very cool, but we do not have to use that for anything in this run, unfortunately.
It does seem pretty slow.
Take Ulbrich along. Do not hear the beginning of the tale. Let's be very, very careful. It is worth it to be a little bit slower, just to make sure we don't actually hit that prompt. Alright, this is the mountain pass, and it is... I would say that I get an encounter here about 30% of the time. Hopefully my movement is good enough to where that does not happen, but, you know, you can't get everything you want in life. If I was really trying to be careful, I could have done I could have done a step reset on that save point, but I decided to risk it, and so now we are in this little battle here. Hopefully we can just run away, thank you. And now we can do this little bit of a required fight before we actually enter the next dungeon. But we are so full to the brim with soulstones now that nothing really stands a chance against us. a wind soulstone medium will take out these enemies relatively quickly.
What is the in lore? Like, what are soul stones in the lore of Octopath?
I wish I could tell you.
Okay.
I'm sure there's an answer. I simply don't know it.
Because it makes me think of the soul gems from Elder Scrolls, and there's souls in there.
Potentially.
So like, are you just chucking souls at guys?
All I see is that big number go burr.
Honestly, that's the best answer possible.
Alright, so this is Gaston. And as you can see by the weakness that we uncovered, he is very weak to thunder. So we're going to make use of that by doing a Thunder Soulstone Large and then a Thunder Soulstone Medium. And that should be the end of the fight. Lovely.
Dang, he just got messed up by those. I forgot that you could kill them before breaking, and so when the other guys just vanished, I was like, oh yeah, you don't actually have to break. You can just do enough damage.
Yes, I did briefly allude to that in our fight against Russell, but it's actually worth mentioning again here. So there's basically, I believe, 3 stages of damage that you can do. There's broken damage, there's weak damage while not broken, and then there's resisted damage while not broken. So you'll see that Thunder Soulstone Large that I used should have done more damage against the boss if he was broken, but it had a slightly reduced amount even though he was weak to it. But because he was weak to it, it didn't do the minimum amount of damage, which is, I believe, 2200. So there's like 3 levels of damage that we can sort of skirt around and plan our fights around as we go. Good question. Alright, we're almost to our 4th character. This is going to be Primrose. This is the character that I started with in my casual playthrough. But we're going to be skipping a lot of the very intriguing plot that she has. Arguably the most intriguing plot of all 8 characters. But first, we're going to scrutinize this soldier. It's just a 60% chance, which we got first try, thankfully. And the idea behind that is we're going to pick up this item, which is basically just going to be money fodder for us later. And we're going to be teaching Tressa a skill called Hired Help, which you will see is absolutely busted and is basically pay to win in video game form. You'll see what I mean by that later. I actually want to point out, as we're recruiting Primrose, whose path action is not useful for us either, that I actually have in front of me on paper written Hired Help after Sunshade, and that's because it's extremely easy to just forget to teach Hired Help to Tressa, which makes the final 2 bosses of this game just basically impossible. So I gave myself a little bit of a helping hand there, just so I wouldn't forget. I would say I also have a relatively high chance of getting an encounter here unless I have whoa, wow, that was a really early encounter. That was pretty unfortunate, actually. Alright, we're gonna hope for the best. And, okay, at least we're getting good escape luck. That is not guaranteed. I am very happy to say that we are getting good escape luck. And it's time for Halkanish.
This is making me really want to go back and finish playing this game.
Oh, it's great. I love this game. Even though I wouldn't call myself a top runner of this game, I do think that it is a fantastic casual experience. Alright, so as you might imagine from the Terrible Man, we're going to be using a Light Soulstone Large against Halkanish, taking out the 2 enemies and damaging him in the process, and then finishing him off with, I believe, a Thunder Soulstone M. And check the route. Yes, that is correct. You want to be very careful that you use the correct Soulstone, because, again, weaknesses, even when the enemy is not broken, does do an increased amount of damage, so we want to make sure that we are juggling all of our Soulstones properly so that we don't accidentally misuse one. Alright, that's chapter 4.
If only I knew how many chapters there were. How many paths are there?
Well, there are 8 first chapters for the 8 characters. Each character actually has 4 chapters in their story, so there are a total of 32 chapters. We will only be doing the first ones because I am too scared to do a all chapters run. That just sounds pretty
I don't think we'd have time,
I'm going to be honest. I could make it work. Alright, we're going to be making our way to Alphen next in Clearbrook. The path to his dungeon also has a relatively large chance of getting us an encounter. And as, I guess, extra frosting on, like, icing on the cake, all of his enemies tend to spawn in very large numbers, so it makes running away slightly harder, we think. We're not totally sure.
This is the one I remember starting with, is Alphen.
Mm-hmm. Do not, I was about to hit yes. That would have been bad. Alright, so you're noticing that we can only have a maximum of 4 people in our party, and you might be wondering, it's faster menuing to just get rid of Primrose, right? She's on the bottom, you can just do up on the menu. We actually want to keep Primrose in our party because the boss after this one, the boss after the snake, we're going to actually need access to knives, and Primrose's primary weapon is a knife to break the boss of the next chapter. So we want to make sure that we do not have Ulbrich, because Ulbrich does not have an easy way of breaking the boss. Oh, please. That was pixels away. Oh, that's bad.
Uh-oh.
This is very bad because that enemy is very high level. And again, oh my gosh, I am so lucky. Okay, we're good. Yes, as we think, high level enemies are the ones that are hardest to run away from. We think, because again, no one truly knows. But I am very lucky to be able to say that I've been able to run for all of my encounters. That is rare. I will just say now, that is extremely rare.
Better, you know, as a career RPG runner, I am a long believer of better to be lucky than to be good, and so
Yep. Alright, so we're going to be using a Shadow Soulstone against this giant snake that I spoiled at the very beginning of the run. It's going to use Poison Breath against us, but we're not going to be too worried about that. It does a lot of AoE damage, but it's not going to be too big of a deal, because we will be taking the monster out pretty quickly.
now we've got these cool bubbles. What's
yes.
that like? Oh my god, that poison does so much damage. Okay.
Yeah, so poison against bosses, I believe, does 1% every turn. I think it does significantly more to us.
Yeah.
Good.
Seems a bit more than 1%.
So unfortunately with Alphen, in the same way that we had to do some story beats at the end of all the other characters' chapters, Alphens are just really long for some reason. There's just a ton of post-chapter 1 cutscenes to watch, so you get to see me perform the arduous task of holding down the B button to skip them.
Good old Destiny menus. How much time do you think would be saved if you just had to press B once?
Oh my gosh, I couldn't even begin to tell you. A lot. Alright, so that is 5 of the 8 done. And we're going to Therion now. And unfortunately, the path to Therion very, very often yields an encounter. Basically 100% of the time, it is extremely rare that you do not get an encounter. That sounds bad, because we have 4 characters, so the game is sort of ramping up the difficulty as we play. So that sounds scary. The difference, though, is we actually have one sort of pocket soulstone, one remaining ice soulstone M that we can use to our advantage against one encounter, and I hope to use it in this next place because an encounter is just so ubiquitous.
I feel like the routing for this must have been very interesting, since there's so many different orders in which you can go.
I would imagine so. Although you might, if you pick up running this game, you might notice that there's a lot of commonalities between them. I can't believe I didn't get an encounter. Why am I getting good luck now? Okay, whatever. Yeah, you might notice there's a lot of commonalities in the way that we actually do this. So a lot of runs go to Whistlewood. A lot of runs do the same sort of Runeblade looting and stuff like that. Take Therion along, replace him with Alphen because we need those knives for the next boss, and we're not going to hit the beginning of the tail. So, the skills that you learn in this run, all first chapters, even though it's a miscellaneous run, they do carry over, in my opinion, to the other categories of this game. and we're going to make our way to Ravis Manor, where we're going to engage in a little bit of chicanery.
I also remember doing this part, because I remember going from Apothecary, because this is the thief one, right?
This is the thief one, indeed.
Yeah, I went from Apothecary to thief, and it was a bit of total whiplash.
Yep. That's something that people arguably didn't like too much about this game, the fact that the stories were disconnected. I didn't personally mind it. So we're actually going to be performing yet another step reset here. If I wanted to be super optimal, I could have just used the Ice Soulstone, but there is yet another path that sort of somewhat often gives you an encounter, so doing the step reset is sort of the middle ground way that we can get around that. If I do the correct movement. Yes. So yeah, avoiding encounters in this game is indeed requiring good movement, but also just luck. So, like I said, it adds a little bit of spice to it. Alright, Heathcote. We're gonna have to do a little bit of a different strategy. We can't just spam Soulstones this time. We're gonna have to break him first before any of those Soulstones actually do significant damage. Hopefully we don't die here, good. We're going to use all of our boost points to take him out, or at least break his shields. Shield points are now down to 0, so he'll take extra damage from all the attacks. Furion is going to use a Fire Soulstone Large, which will take out the smaller enemies so we don't have to worry about his attack patterns. And we're going to defend with all the other characters, because all that really matters now is Cyrus using the remainder of his boost points and using Lightning Blast to take him out. Very good fight.
Man, this took me way longer, I gotta say.
Well, we did a little bit of cheating.
Yeah, that's fair. I knew that's what I was missing in my strategy.
When in doubt, as they say. Alright, we have a little bit of movement to do here to the end of the chapter, because again, we need to actually engage with the story beats of all the characters' ends of first chapters, which is, I understand. Ideally, I would have just done the boss. Alright, so coming up is my favorite character in the game, Hannah, who speaks a little bit oddly, but that is okay. She's basically the Pokemon trainer, so you might like her as well.
Oh no, I did get to her. Yes, because she has yes. I did like her. You're right. I did not like the way that she speaks.
Yes, it's a little bit jarring. Fun fact, I used to actually run this category starting with Hannah instead of starting with Cyrus. And if you do that, you want to make sure that you switch the game's audio to Japanese, because the characters all have like this introductory, I guess, statement that they like to say before battle begins. And regrettably, for Hannah, it's extremely long. It's just really long. So if by switching it to Japanese, we nullify the chance that we have to hear the very long dialogue.
It took the way that Urianger speaks in Final Fantasy XIV and just turned it up to 11.
Regrettably, that is not a reference that I understand, but I believe you.
He just talks in the lore of that game, he talks in a way that is very antiquated, and nobody talks like that anymore because he read too many books.
I see. Alright, so this is the route that very often gives me an encounter, and thankfully I have the Ice Soulstone, so I don't have to worry about running away from it anymore. I can just simply take it out. Which is good that I was able to save it for now. That is not common. Typically I will use it on the path to Therion. Yeah, see, there's a lot of enemies here, and I just don't want to have to deal with them. Especially since two of those enemies are quite fast. So the fact that again, we don't really know how it does work, but the fact that we can do this is very nice. Instead of having to run away and risk it. Alright. And we make our way to the Whisperwood, which has an unfortunately similar name to Whistlewood, which is that place that we went to at the beginning of the run. Alright.
Just to make sure you're paying attention.
We're now going to be fighting a big rat. So if anyone has any rat emotes, now's the perfect time.
I feel like
Alright,
the
so this
closest
is...
that I have is the Yes Chef one, because that was from a rat run, so I guess you could all spam that.
That would work, yeah. Alright, so the reason why we wanted to give hired help to Tressa is because it is literally busted. I don't exactly know if you see it in the Octopath Traveler II run. My guess would be yes, please don't kill Tressa. That's all you need to do. Okay, good. It is just... It basically, depending on how much you spend, I'll show you the menu here. You do different types of damage, different weaknesses, but also extra damage. So we've given a energizing pomegranate to Tressa, meaning that her boost points are now maximized. And by using Veteran Soldier, which is the most powerful of the options in hired help, we can absolutely demolish this fight. Not even a problem. It's completely trivialized.
Oh my goodness, that was a lot of numbers.
It was a lot of numbers, it was a lot of damage, and it's good because, like I said, the enemies are getting slightly more advanced as we integrate more characters into our party. Alright, there's only one chapter left, and we don't actually have to do any more well, a little bit more running, but we don't have to run to the Frostlands anymore because, as you might remember from all the way back in the beginning of the run, that is the first place we went, and we did not do Ophilia's chapter because we knew that we'd have to TP to it eventually. So we have graduated from using soul stones to using hired help, and there's a reason that Tressa's, I believe Tressa's single story run is the most popular of all of them for Octopath Traveler 1, and that's because hired help is just broken, and it does eliminate a little bit of the RNG that is involved in a lot of fights.
That feels like an ability where, like, in a speedrun context, where you know, like, exactly the resources you need, you'd be like, yeah, this rules. And then in a casual context, I would never use because I'd be like,
yeah,
but
exactly.
I want to buy stuff.
Yeah, 30,000 is a lot, but as you've seen, it is absolutely worth it for very difficult fights. Alright. I rarely get an encounter in this little place, so hopefully I did not just jinx myself. Okay, good. Skip a little bit of dialogue and make our way into the Cave of Origin, which is going to be our final dungeon.
Maybe I got farther in this game than I remember. It's been so long since I played this. I remember doing this too, but like, the game came out like what, 2018?
It's entirely possible. I guarantee you that you'd...
That was the last time I played it, so yeah. Huh. I'm just surprised at how much of it I'm like, I remember this.
Well, I guarantee you that you did not beat the boss as quickly as we're going to be doing.
No, absolutely not. I probably got absolutely stomped.
So speaking of hired help, hey, look, Tressa goes first. Isn't that nice?
Oh,
Bye.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
That's the end. In fact, that's basically the end of the run. We're gonna do a little bit of cutscene skipping here, but once we hear the music on the black screen, that's gonna be time. And hopefully I'll be able to time that properly so I can give you a proper countdown. It's a little bit hard to do without a timer, but it's gonna be close. Alright. 3, 2, 1, time.
All right.
And that's all first chapters.
Thank you so much for showing us just a little bite-sized piece of all 8 of the paths.
Yeah, hopefully that'll serve as a good primer for the run that is coming up. So thank you very much for watching.
Do you have any shout-outs you'd like to do before we head to our break?
I suppose I'll shout out the Octopath Traveler community. I'm not a big part of it, I must admit, although whenever I've asked questions, they've been absolutely the nicest people in helping me and make sure that I have the correct information. So if this looked interesting and if the next one looks interesting, please make sure to join. I'm sure they'd be glad to have you. Thanks so much.
All right, before we head to our break, we do have a couple of announcements. We are looking for new Hotfix shows and showrunners. Use !Hotfix in Twitch chat or go to gamesdonequick.com/hotfix to submit your ideas. This includes bi-weekly shows, limited show runs like Ocarina Improv, and one-day events. Submissions made before June 13th will be considered for these open show slots. That's 8 days. You got 8 days to get your show ideas in. If you missed out on SGDQ 2023, be sure to check out all the VODs on YouTube. And if you'd like to support Doctors Without Borders, SGDQ may be over, but our donations page is open until the end of tonight, June 5th. So get those last-minute donations in, and don't go anywhere, because we'll be right back with Octopath Traveler 2. Welcome back to Tiny Treefort. It's a miniature celebration of Frame Fatales. We're back, showing off more Octopath Traveler. In fact, Sanjan, I have a question for you.
Yes.
If Octopath Traveler is so nice, why is there no Octopath Traveler 2?
You're seeing it over Octopath Traveler Dos, the second.
Oh!
Octopath Traveler.
Well, that has to be new, right?
Yeah, it's freshly released, I can't tell time, apparently, this February.
I actually didn't realize it was all the way back in February. It feels newer than that. But that's still pretty new.
It's actually been like 3 or 4 months. I can't tell track of time, but there's been a lot of new stuff.
Well, if you hit T, you can actually change time, so...
Yeah, there's a lot of, like, cool new little features. Like, the music also changes. Like, there's a lot of changes, and I'll get to it in the game, but when I get
if you're ready to go, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I would actually like to, kind of, just for verification purposes, so this game does have a FPS setting, but it's not like the FPS you're thinking of. So, for reference, I'm running at 120 FPS. You don't need you can do this at 60 Hertz. They just put it there because, I don't know, the settings don't make sense, okay? It is what it is. And, yeah, I'm running it in English. But, like Octopath Traveler 1, there's chill music, and there's 8 characters. But we are going to be running the category name Galdera. So, for those of you who are not in the know, Galdera...
I'm not in the know.
Was in 1, but he's back in 2, and he's not happy that our heroes in Octa 1 beat him up so easily, so he's back and he's angrier. But this is actually a different category, than much different, because in the first one we did all the stories, but in here we're only going to do one single story. And yeah, what if I told chat that we can defeat the super boss, Galdera, while doing only one chapter? Amazing, isn't it? Right, May?
I mean, I don't even know who Galdera is, so I'm going to agree, I guess.
It's okay, you know what? Agreeing is enough. So, like Octopath 1, time starts when we press yes to begin our adventure. So we're going to pick Drone as our starter, who is a thief. This will be a spoiler-free, aside from the final boss, or the super boss, of course, playthrough, so I won't talk about story. I'll just talk about the gameplay. So, without further ado, let us count down. So, 3, 2, 1, go.
I take what I want.
So there's gonna be a lot of, like, new kind of, like, enhancements. You're gonna see that there's a quick, kind of, like, fast forward. This basically makes, cutscenes go fast.
Ooh.
And that's what we get. So, we have to start with our chapter 1s, of course.
Wait, does that include fight animations?
Yeah. So they
Whoa.
actually like they actually listened to feedback from Octopath Traveler 1, and they put a couple new twists in here. So we're gonna do Drone's chapter 1 here. It's mandatory, and we started with her anyways. Not gonna say anything about story. I mean, just enjoy the cutscene. And so there's additional paths. So like in Octa 1, there's like 8 different paths, but now there's one for both night and day. So we're introduced to Drone's night path action, which is ambush. Basically, because she can, and it's level based, she'll just knock someone out cold.
Ready? Afraid of the dark.
And so we just get so unlike Octo 1, like you get these little tutorial characters here, Scarachi and Pyro. Pretty cool characters.
Afraid of the dark.
We're just gonna try to take care of these enemies fast here.
So what makes... So you said we're only doing one chapter, right?
There's no time to lose.
Yeah, aside from Throne Age Chapter 1.
So then, what makes her the best one?
To start with.
Yeah.
So basically, she's going to be one of our main damage dealers. So, a little bit of spoilers, Galdera has 2 phases because we have to use all 8 travelers. Throne Age will be one of our DPSs. And
Oh,
then
so we are still getting everyone. We're just not finishing their chapters.
Yeah, we just don't do any chapters. We just don't do any chapters aside from someone's chapter 2 because that person's chapter 2 gets us a really useful item.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah, so we're just gonna go by here to do some plot. You'll see it's a lot like Octo 1, like base-wise, or like base, pretty much mechanics. Just like you got a good old break system. You deal more damage when they're broken, etc. Please, can I steal this gold ring, sir? Thank you. You have to steal. I'm stealing a couple items here just to make sure I'm good for the battle. Trying to steal a couple soul stones here. And then we're just gonna, pretty much make our way through. So there is quite a few changes that pretty much I'll be going over. Of course, story-wise, like they did. I know a lot of people's complaints were about like, the characters not interacting, but without too much spoilers, they did change that. Because there's kind of like a additional story system where you pair 2 characters together, and it's really good. I personally think Octo 2 is a lot better quality of life-wise than Octo 1. But yeah. Also, you'll notice, like, when I did the battles, we pretty much were able to play in 2 times speed, and yeah, when you play this in 2 times speed, it's a good wonder. Sorry, you were saying, May?
I was just saying, I was watching the Octopath 1 run that we just did. I was like, man, maybe I should go back and I should finish Octopath 1. And now you're showing me all the battles that you can just speed up to 2 times as fast. And I'm like, oh man, that seems way better.
Yeah, and then you'll notice too, like, even these characters have like a fight animation. Like, I think in 1 there wasn't really an animation, but you see Pyro here,
Afraid of the dark.
here have like a really cool animation.
What?
There is 1%.
These are pretty sick animations.
Yeah.
My turn.
So, after this, we're going to be introduced here to a mechanic called Latent Power. And Latent Power is like kind of a special power that you can use. Throne's Latent Power ability is to take 2 actions in 1 turn.
My turn.
And
You say it's like breaking your limits?
pretty much.
Not bad. Watch me.
Sorry, I had to think about that for a second.
Being able to go twice does seem quite good, I will say.
It's probably like one of the most overpowered skills, honestly.
In general, I feel like in turn-based games, anything that lets you break action economy tends to be absolutely absurd.
Yeah. Like in Octopath 1, spoilers, Thief's pretty overpowered, especially when you can gear her correctly. And yeah, as you see here, Octopath 2 has a day and night system, corresponding to their path actions. So like, there is different characteristics during the day and night. In the day, or in the night, you get more encounters and they're tougher. So,
Interesting.
you generally, if you want to grind, you do it at night, but since we obviously want to get through here, we want to go here in the day. And then, like in Octopath 1, when you walk, there's a step counter that decrements. There's a couple changes here that I will talk about in a second here, but when you walk, the step counter decrements slower.
Oh.
And they did make an interesting change in Octopath 2, where upon your first entry into an area, it's gonna the step counter number is lower. So like, let's just say like the base number was 1,000, but when you first enter an area, it's 500. So
Okay,
they kind of nerfed the evasive maneuvers quite a bit, but it's still very useful.
So like when you went to that other area and went back, was that to reset your step or get the higher step counter then?
Yes, it's also to tag
Okay.
an area, but to also like reset it.
Makes sense.
So we're gonna recruit our second character here. Incidentally, he's also gonna be our second DPSer. Yeah, Mr. Oswald, who also spends his time on the floor and speedruns a lot. But yeah, the unique thing here is that we don't have to do characters chapters 1 at all. We can just entirely skip it. And the default option is no, thankfully. So, Mr. Oswald...
That did seem scary in the last run, I will say.
So Oswald's night path action is Mug, and yeah, it's basically what it says. He basically, takes a random poor villager stuff, because this random guy here has a lot of like valuable items that we want. And then we get to what I like to call Whistlewood on a budget. So basically, since we don't really have, since they kind of nerf souls, they kind of like nerf where you can get soul stones, aside from this one place called the Black Market. So this Black Market lets you buy soul stones, and then we have to see clerics here, which is about a 15% chance. Hey, not bad.
Wait, so is it like just a button to progress time?
Yeah, you can switch between day and night with R2, which is what I'm using on my controller here. You can play on either controller or keyboard. Speedrun-wise, it's just preference.
Thinking time.
And
That's
yeah, like any good old RNG stuff, you can fail fleas, but I actually don't mind being hit or failing fleas because I'm trying to build my latent power on my 2 characters. So
okay,
basically,
so that is cross-fight.
Yeah. So basically, to build latent power, I need to either break an enemy or get hit. And then hopefully I don't have to pay the cleric tax here. Not bad. So also the nice thing about a lot of these areas is, yeah, we get evasive maneuvers here, which is the same amount of JP, a little bit differently. So we just pretty much get it by exploring, and thankfully a lot of these encounters are a lot of these areas have like the same encounters, so that is pretty much I pretty much know which soulstone to use.
Come and get me.
But it's a little different here in that like I basically get evasive maneuvers while like tagging different areas. So pretty much the premise of the Galdera speedrun is because we don't really do stories since they're obviously slow, we're pretty much gonna do a lot of like optional stuff and then a bit of grinding at the end. So the first pretty much big order of business is...
Ready?
That's rude. It's okay.
My turn.
The first big order of business is getting all the equipment that we need to pretty much make our characters pretty overpowered and then like training up to a specific level.
Let's play.
Not bad.
Yeah. Who's next?
But yeah, I know these guys died to a Light Soulstone Man. They're the same encounter, and like any Octopath speedrun, I'm gonna learn the good old skills here, and then I'm gonna learn evasive maneuvers. So if you don't know what evasive maneuvers does, it basically doubles the amount of steps that you can take before, or it doubles the amount of steps you can take before you can get an encounter. So it's pretty much needed to explore like the areas here.
So the way that it works, like, you have like a certain number of steps where you cannot get an encounter, and after that it is random?
Certain number of steps, well, like... No, there's no, like, kind of, like... It rolls a number between, like, 500 and, like, 1,000 for your first time. And then after that is, like, 1,000 to 1,500. And the base... sorry, I should have said this, but the base maneuvers just basically makes a decrement slower.
Gotcha. So then, but then it's just that many steps until you get an encounter. It's not like randomness based on...
Yeah, it's like random,
how many
like
are left or anything?
like the amount of steps that it takes, like the number is random, but like the amount that it decrements by is pretty much like the same.
That makes sense.
Sorry, less with evasive maneuvers, more without. And of course, night and day. At night, the number decrements even, or increments, like decrements even more. Sorry, English. So I got the JP augmenter here because it pretty much multiplies the amount of JP I need by 1.5 times for each encounter. And because like we have to like get really high level and all the stuff that we need costs a lot of JP in such a short amount of time, we take about the 50-second detour to get it.
Cleaning time.
So that just lasts for... Is that just like a permanent buff, or does that last for a certain amount of time?
It's an equipment that you can put. So you'll notice that I equipped it to Throne A. But yeah, one unique thing that wasn't in Octopath 1 but applies to Octopath Traveler 2 is that in Octopath 1, with evasive maneuvers, running and walking didn't matter, but they changed it in Octopath 2 where walking actually matters as well. So like you'll see me walking some screens even with evasive maneuvers. That is really unlucky. Go away, Octopus. So this is like the new kitty. You didn't see a Kate in the last one, but they added. There's Kates, and then there's now Octopuffs. Octopuffs give you more EXP and JP. We don't need them. Or actually, I don't want to use it on that because I don't have the soul stones for it. That's why I told the octopus to go away.
And, you know, it took a little convincing, but it did eventually.
Time to clean up the filth.
Thinking time. Fire. All according
Well, I like these, like,
What
I like
to
these
do?
woodchucks.
They're very cute, but they're trying to hurt us.
Everything's cute until it causes time loss.
Pretty much. You'll see me just pretty much break encounters for safety. Usually I'll run if I don't get the right characters, but sometimes, you know, if I'm feeling lucky, I'll just run. But yeah, also the music in just like an Octopath one is amazing. But yeah, basically you're just running around and recruiting some characters that we need. We're not doing this story. This is the reason why I literally play in English. By the way, there's no difference between English and Japanese voices as far as we know. So, Variety mentioned that there's kind of like gimmicks, like accents. There was Haunted with like the old English, but here there's Partitia with the Western cowboy voice.
That's fun.
He's got a lot of good lines. I highly recommend playing his story like casually. His story is 10 out of 10. Also, like, if you see his walking animation, he holds his hat. Like, how cool is that?
Well, you don't want to get blown away.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're running fast. And honestly, there's been streams where I just like literally just like talk in a cowboy voice for the next like 30 minutes, but I won't put chat through that.
It's the new category. It's Caldera, but you have to do commentate the entire thing,
Cleaning time.
doing a cowboy voice.
Too easy.
Oh no. That's gonna be so hard for me to focus, so I just laugh all day long. But yeah, here recruiting Hikari, like some characters, like you have to like do a battle before you can recruit them, but the nice thing about Hikari is that his battle gives a lot of JP and XP. Not as useful in this category, but very useful in other places. So we're gonna do some path actions here. Their path actions are pretty much, in the day, are pretty much the same as in like Octopath 1, but their night ones obviously are different, but yeah. But just
Did you just rob a child?
I bought something from the child.
Oh, you bought it. Okay.
Yeah. Particio gave a fair deal of 100 leaves for that, light nut, which, those nuts are gonna be very necessary for, they boost the character's base stats, and Caldera is basically, everything is routed pretty much to, like, the bare minimum. So, like, the levels,
That makes sense.
everything will be at the bare minimum that you need. Where was I going? Right. Everything is routed literally to the bare minimum. If I just make like one mistake on their menuing, like, it's not going to be a good time. But yeah, now we had to like go to the shop to buy a couple items. Pretty much, you're gonna see like. Did you think hired help was overpowered? You know, pay to
quite
win.
Good.
It's gonna be put up to the next level.
They made it better?
Oh, they made it better, in my opinion. Or for better or worse. But there's stuff even more, in my opinion, even more overpowered than hired help.
It already seemed quite good.
I'll show later, but it basically pretty much like for whatever reason they boosted it up. But you'll see me here change it tonight because the encounters here tend to give more JP and XP.
And so it goes.
And
The working in the day-night stuff into routing seems really cool.
yeah, it's pretty cool because like you can intentionally change it tonight to force encounters much sooner. And yeah, also the boats are very cute. It's also funny when they can't escape in a boat because, you know, like they're up against like little fish and then they for some reason can't escape, you know.
Well, I mean, that's their natural habitat. Like, if anyone knows how to fight in the water, it'd be a fish.
That's true. They know how also to chase them down. So yeah, we came here because we want to grab a certain looted item here, as well as steal a soulstone. I basically bought a specific amount of soulstones, but like just barely enough so that we can pretty much do what we want to do. Probably the lowest percent steal chance that we'll see in the game. And then we're gonna go off to New Delsta. And then we're gonna go and unlock two of the basic abilities needed, as well as the most overpowered support skill in the game, which I will explain later once I beat up this. So to unlock Aldera in this game, you don't need to do any stories. You can just you just need to do a series of little like mini quests. And so you saw that guy just standing there. We won't ignore him for long. Don't worry. Well, he basically lost his bag, and we gotta go get it back. And then we're gonna go in here to this building here and unlock the most overpowered class, honestly. Like, you thought Merchant was overpowered? In my opinion, this is even worse.
Alright, is this like an engineer?
Yeah, so it's kind of
Inventor?
like an engineer slash inventor class, but they have abilities. So the two you'll be seeing, so the one really overpowered ability is called a Step Ahead. So Step Ahead is a support skill, and what it does is that it lets your character have a free turn before your enemy, and
Oh,
it's you basically like in a single story, or like pretty much like even like most full game categories except for this one, really. You pretty much beat everything in 3 turns.
okay.
And they also have just like a good range of skills too.
As I said before, anything that breaks action economy, it's gonna be good.
Pretty much. But also, this is probably going to be the most dangerous area, and once we get through this, the entire run is consistent, and thankfully, you know, like in Octopath 1, if you die, you just get annoyed and move on. So these friendly neighborhood wild drillbirds here and armadillo. The armadillo does not die to a soulstone M, so we have to break it, and if we get ambushed, we're probably gonna die. So we only need one more encounter, and then we're pretty much just safe.
Got more money.
So thankfully, it's the same encounter here in this area as well. So hopefully I don't get ambushed. I'll be a sad panda if I get ambushed. But it's not.
Let's play.
I spoke too soon.
My friends,
My turn.
So usually, like, I would try to save this, but they will usually kill someone.
very effective. Where did I go wrong?
Where did I go wrong? Get ambushed. Thanks, Oswald. Thankfully, though, the game, basically after every time you transition into an area, you get an autosave. So let me just try again.
Sure.
Okay, there we go.
Otherwise, that'd be a rough one to do on the hotfix, I think.
Yeah, I would have to make a lot of safety saves. But yeah, that's after this. It's pretty much very hard for us to die.
Is ambush chance based on anything?
So it's roughly like the lower level you are, the more chances you have of getting
Okay.
ambushed. We don't know the formula for it though, unfortunately. You'll see me here reset my steps using Hikari's challenge. When you mug or challenge someone, for example, it'll reset the step counter. So if I had not done that challenge, I would have gotten an encounter. And
Is it pretty much like any zone transition that does it?
yeah, any zone transition, any cutscene that happens.
Any fight? Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Oh, I forgot to do something. We need to grab an item here for a quest because so big order of business is we need to make 100,000 leads to buy a boat. It's a lot of money, but I promise you it's not too bad because we can do certain quests here to make sure it's pretty easy. But yeah, we'll complete that quest later, but other order of business is that we actually want to do Hikari's Chapter 2. So Hikari's kind of our warrior. I'm gonna learn some skills here so that, I learned the merchant skills on Throne because she's gonna be our main damage dealer. Since we kind of need her for for the side quests that we're gonna do. But now from here, we're just gonna, make a, nice little stroll, leisurely walk while tagging some areas.
Out of my way.
Making our way across the land.
Yep. It's basically pretty much a big
Killing
tour.
some moles. Oh, those are pigs. Those
Yeah.
are not moles.
I like to call that, that 3 shield pig, I like to call that pig the Elvis pig. Or the brain
Interesting.
pig, because it has the Elvis
Brain-
hairline.
Brain pig makes sense to me. It kind of also looks like a potato.
Potato pig? Oh no.
Potato pig.
Alright, if I get this encounter, I will be sad. Thank you. But yeah, we went to tag Temnos' area, but we're not gonna do this. We're not gonna recruit him just yet, since we actually want to do Hikari's Chapter 2 at this party.
I shall be your opponent.
But yeah, basically, because of a step ahead, we basically get 2 free chances at fleeing the low-level encounters, which is still really useful, especially because we don't have a certain ability yet, which I'll explain later. But yeah, this is also pretty much the last time we can really get ambushed, but this encounter can't really do much to you.
Let the experiment begin.
Hi, kitty. Bye, kitty. Whatever.
Here goes. This one's
I love all the little ragtag bands you're against in this game.
Maybe next time. Whatever. Yeah, so that's a cultured Kate. We didn't really need the JP from it, but I'm still a little sad. Basically, it's not the end. It's like a 3% chance that these little kitties or octopus can appear, and they're nice for like the extra XP to like kind of make this category like a little bit shorter, but it's not like a big deal. Also, we're just gonna randomly mug this guy because we need some money.
I like my arms.
He has some valuable items.
Take this. How weak. I've seen worse methods.
Feel like that was not a fair fight, but
Yeah,
it's a run. You gotta do what you gotta do.
That's why you throw stones and stuff just dies. You know,
Also,
this,
just like you just mug him in like the middle of the street.
yeah. You know the funny thing is that if you fail a mug, you don't lose reputation. The reputation
Really?
The reputation is tied to kind of like stuff you do in towns, and if you are at 0 reputation, you cannot do path actions. And for whatever reason, night path actions, like, they don't decrement. So like,
I still have much to learn.
Oswald can like freely like mug a bunch of people, fail, and he gets nothing for it. I don't know why, but hey.
I guess it's just too dark out. Nobody saw it happen.
This game has some decent representation on that front. If you ever want to know Temnos and Throne's duel story, be gay, do crime. There you go.
On your guard.
The true thief mindset.
Now it begins.
That is a true thief gamer mindset.
There's no need
yeah.
for
I don't know about how much rep there is, but I will say that the people I follow on Tumblr seem to be making a lot of it. So I've seen a lot of Octo 2 ship content. And I don't know anything about Octo 2.
There's a lot of pretty cool stuff.
On your guard.
But yeah, this is Hikari 2, pretty much like any warrior story, Koth Ulbrich,
Now
Isn't that just Yuffie?
I mean, sure. Like any like
for the
like warrior story, like you're an honorable person, such an honorable person, you throw stones at them. Like that's totally honorable.
Exactly. You're just going you're going moblin mode. You're just tossing rocks.
Tossing rocks left and right. But pretty much after this, you don't really You don't really use stones anymore because we've got even better stuff than stones.
So is this the one chapter we're doing, or is this like a side?
This is the one
story?
chapter we do. After this, we'll do a
Okay.
side story, pretty much, or side story, pretty much.
It's over. I can still fight. You're over.
Yeah, you go,
Still
Hikari.
much to
Most
learn.
honorable person, MVP. Yeah, story-wise, I recommend Casti. I also recommend Partitio's. Casti is top tier story. Also, this is a big boss. They make all the bosses very big to emphasize that, you know, they're bosses. But if you thought hired help was overpowered in 1, I've got news for you. We spend less money and we can do Vet's damage from Octa 1. You're welcome.
So it goes.
That's basically Hikari 2. That's the only story we do, but this is literally because Hikari 2's story unlocks a little side story here. But first off, we gotta sell some stuff so I can afford to use vets.
I just assumed it's just because we love an arena arc here.
That's so we're going to you know, knock out someone because we can, and this will unlock this fight, which is normally like extremely difficult. She's got 30k HP. There's a chance I might not kill her. It's kind of rare, but we're basically gonna throw bets at it. Okay, I got scared there.
All
That was
tidied up.
3 very low hits. I would have been extremely
just-
unhappy if I didn't
Is that
get
just
it.
a Persona all-out attack?
Pretty much. Actually, it
That
works.
rules.
Vets work a little differently in this game. Actually, I'm gonna do this because I think this line deserves to be heard. Normally, I would not do this, but I just want to do it literally just for this line. And I think fans will understand. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Howdy there, friend.
I don't remember.
My turn.
Catapult.
Go,
Oh, I
go,
love
go!
this guy.
Time to divvy up the earnings.
I love this guy's animation. This one rules. He's just balancing.
He's like he's basically like a very unhinged character. It's really funny.
Just like me for real.
Pretty much. That's how you get stuff done. Sometimes you just gotta be unhinged. Normally I would have Throne as the inventor here, but I want Partitio as inventor here because I can, and because his line for the catapult attack is 10 out of 10.
Come and get me.
Catapult. Go, go, go.
Alright,
Day's work.
please don't kill these birds for me. Ah!
No, it's okay. You're actually gonna like when I recruit a character later, May. It's okay. You know,
Is there a
these-
bird character? Because I will go buy this game tonight.
There is a bird character that is part of like one of the main characters. You know,
Oh, heck.
so you know the hunter in this game. You know how Haunted had a.
Catapult. Go.
You know how Haunted had a snow leopard.
Yeah.
So the hunter in this
No.
game, Ochet, has 2 types of pets. You can pick one of them. You can do either. You can pick between an owl or a fox. So I'm gonna assume you want the owl. The owl is very cute.
I am- Oh my goodness. No, I got man,
You-
now I have
you
another
have to
game I have
buy
to
it.
play.
You have to buy it for the fans.
That's worth it though. Yeah. There's like
Oh.
3 games I want to play right now though. This is rough.
Well, well.
It's very cute because like, oh yeah, I forgot to put on the stuff. I can do this backup.
Take this.
I forgot to equip an item because I literally just wanted to show off Partitio's catapult attack. It's okay. The estimate for this is very generous. My fastest time, at least, I have the world wrecking in this game with the 111, but I am using a sort of a different route because if I did the fastest route, it would be pretty risky because A, there's no safety, and B, the final battle has a 66% chance to win. And
Yeah,
if I
if
don't get
people
that
aren't aware-
66% chance, we waste 3 minutes. So for everyone's sake, I am doing the more safer route, which is about 5 to 6 minutes slower.
Yeah, people aren't aware at how good Sanjan is at Octopath. Sanjan is quite good at Octopath.
Yeah, I've been through it all in Octopath. I've been through the Galdera Pain in 1, which is a much longer category.
The Galdera Gauntlet.
Yep. But yeah, here we're just pretty much like exploring too. We need to get to a certain town here to buy the boat. So I am basically taking my time here. We gotta visit a town called Gravel to complete one of the quests, and when we complete the quest, it's also gonna give us an item that sells for 100,000 leaves. So yeah, that's pretty much all the money we need to buy a boat.
Is it leaves like L-E-V-E or L-E-A-F?
L-E-A-V-E-S. So.
Okay, it is.
It's using
like
the yen.
plant.
Basically, when you refer to like money-wise, I think it's using the yen.
Okay.
But yeah, here we're gonna use a lot of hired help here because if I looted, it only takes 7,000 gold to pretty much deal Vets-like damage here. So basically for the early game, we're gonna rely on
so
that.
much damage.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage. Like, and it's even cheaper because Vets in Octa 1 for that damage was like 30,000, and we're only spending 7,000 here. But yeah, I forgot to talk about the Champion Belt, which is what we went out of our way to get. The Champion Belt gives 100 physical attack, but it also makes it so that we can't get ambushed, which is pretty crucial because we're going to be going through a lot of really high-level areas, and getting ambushed is not fun, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it seems quite bad.
Because we're basically going to be spending all of our time in very high-level areas.
So why have you been menuing on and off a step ahead?
So basically, a step ahead, like, we don't, like, it's safe because we're not going to use the character that much. If we're not going to use the character that much, we don't want to step ahead because it wastes turns when they get their turn. So that's why, like, earlier in that menu, I took a step ahead off of everyone except Throne. Here, I put it on Cassie because that's the last time we're going to see her until Galdera.
Okay, I get it, okay.
And yes, you heard, and yes, you saw that right. That's the last time we're seeing Cassie for a good while. And she's going to be level 1 for Galdera.
That's rough.
She can do a lot. She does a lot at level 1. She does a lot at level 1. Don't worry. She pulls her weight. Alright, I've got a very important menu here to do because we can we're gonna buy a boat, and in cool fashion we can decorate our boat. So you gotta tell me what you want on the boat. And there's 3 choices, and I'll show you. So there's 3 colors. There's blue, red, and I think yellow. And then there's gonna be the octopus, the sun, and then something else. We're gonna buy our boat.
Octopus sounds pretty good.
So we're gonna buy our boat here. So I'll talk about the hires in a bit. You'll see I kind of like got a discount. Black, red, or blue?
Red.
Okay, octopus, sun, or trident of the sea god?
Octopus.
Alright, so we got a red octopus gamer. I'm disappointed.
What?
I'm just kidding.
I thought that was okay. Well, I would.
The true gamers choose
honest,
blue octopus.
I kind of wish I'd picked blue, but I panicked.
It's okay. I appreciate you for.
Why is there just a chest full of jam in the middle of the ocean?
I guess people just dump it. You know, this is also why we grab a bunch of chests here, because like once we have access to the sea, you get a bunch of useful items. But most importantly, we get an item here called the EXP Augmenter. So much like the JP Augmenter, equip it here. I don't know where my champ belt is. This goes to Temenos. So much like the JP Augmenter, it multiplies the AXP you gain by 1.5 times, and we pretty much need to get a lot of levels in a pretty short amount of time. So that's why
A lucky egg,
yeah,
if you will.
it's kind of like a lucky egg in Pokemon. And then so we're gonna be here. We want to. So basically, the second order of business is we want to get a certain ability. So what you saw there, like when we went to Gravel, is we unlocked the we will unlock the Arms Master class, which is one of the main classes we'll be using for the final fight. But it also has like a very useful support skill, which we can unlock every time we get one of like the rusty items. So we need a total of 3. And it'll give us a very overpowered ability called Peak Performance. So I'll explain that later. But for now here, also basically like a lot of this is just like fetching like all the items we need, because like for the final battle we're pretty much like gonna run on the bare minimum.
Ready?
And because we're not doing any stories again, we have to go kind of out of our way to optional dungeons
So it goes.
to get items. So I'm gonna do a menu here to give Particio and Temenos a step ahead, because most of these monsters in this level 55 area are pretty tough.
What level are we for comparison?
We're like level 15. But because of the power
yeah,
of...
that does seem hard.
Yeah, because of the power of money, it's not bad.
Time to clean up the filth.
Like Racketeer.
Now go.
So, yeah, this is the second set that we'll be using Beastlings. Beastlings, honestly, are even more overpowered than, probably one of the most overpowered, because they basically take off shields no matter what, weaknesses the enemy has, so... They're generally, like, used to break stuff, but yeah. Here, we went all the way in this cave to grab this item called the Giant's Club here. We're gonna give to Temenos, which, fun fact, you can equip stuff from the item screen, which is a new enhancement from Octopath 1. Pretty useful and nifty thing to have. And then now here we're gonna pretty much go beat up these specific group of enemies. They're called the Assassins. So one of the problems, right? I forgot I used this early. Not a big problem. So basically, for whatever reason, just like bosses and everything in general in this game doesn't give you much XP and JP, but for whatever reason, this specific encounter called the Assassins gives you a lot of JP and XP, so you want to do it with this party. Also say hi to the Anteater.
Oh, that's a good Anteater.
And so it goes.
So yeah, we killed it on the way
no,
because
it's
we
a
can't really
special
escape from it.
Anteater farm.
Anteater's a pretty infamous enemy in this game because in single stories it's just very annoying to kill because it doesn't die to
Gotcha.
guard. It doesn't die to 4 times guards. It's got a lot of HP. But yeah, here when we go down to this area, when we switch to night, there's these friendly neighborhood foreign assassins here, and if you defeat them, you get to use them as a hired help. But they also just give you a lot of XP. You first. So what Springer and Boots does is that it makes your character go first in a turn for 5 turns. It's actually overpowered. Like, I don't know what they were doing balancing. Oh, I forgot something. Oh, I did it, oopsie. Not a big deal. It's okay, I produce content for fellow gamers. I also forgot to do
Alright,
something a little bit. It's not much
that's,
time, honestly.
Manip, right?
It's Manip for better encounters. I got so absorbed into talking and then just memeing that I memed myself. It's okay. Y'all just get to hear good music. Like the soundtrack in this game is just a banger.
Well, look, before you were like, oh, I think my estimate was too generous, and now it's like, well, we don't have to worry about it. You're trying to make it closer to give people more content. That's fine.
I had to, spice it up a bit for chat.
Yeah.
But yeah, also I literally forgot to talk about, so like at night, some characters have special abilities. Temenos and Throne, they have overpowered ones, so when you do encounters at night, Throne, pretty much gives you an automatic, physical attack and speed buff, which is about as overpowered as it sounds.
Yeah, that seems quite good.
And then Temenos, he pretty much debuffs the enemies for a lot. Which is why, you know, they're the Be Gay Do Crime crew. They do crimes and beat up enemies.
Love to see it.
You'll love to see it, so... I'm gonna walk here because we don't need this encounter. I actually have to take note of Throne Age JP. I noticed she has 35 something JP. I need a total of 3,996 JP, ideally. I could go by with a little bit less, but ideally I want to be around that JP. So, we're pretty much grabbing a bunch of weapons for Oswald, because we're gonna need to have him powered up for some battles.
Take this. That's that. May the sacred flame guide you.
We're still missing at least one party member, right?
We're missing 2, actually. We'll get them later.
2?
We don't
Yeah.
need to recruit
Okay.
them until later.
I was just so excited for Owl.
Yeah, you won't get to her really soon, like, within 3 minutes. I promise you.
Okay.
I'll literally also go on a boat to show you how cute it is.
Take this.
But yeah, we have to grind some encounters here. We're guaranteed these encounters on the way, so it's not bad at all. But yeah, basically all of this is very precisely routed. Everything from the JP to like the equipment and the damage, so y'all are gonna be amazed. Like, it's an awesome category to show off.
I have seen a lot of people in chat be like, I'm sorry, you beat the super boss in how short of a time from a new file? I think people are already pretty odd, is what I've seen.
Yeah, I'll give my proper shoutouts like when the time comes, just because there's gonna be a period where like we do nothing but grind for like 4 minutes. But yeah, especially during the fight, like it was amazing to see people route this, because like it came a long way, because we used to do 2 stories, Ochet and Hikari's, but we basically cut it down to like where we only needed Hikari's story and then eventually nobody's story. But yeah, we have to go out of our way here to grab the fire starter. So what the fire starter does is that it boosts the fire damage by 1.3 times the usual damage, and it's gonna be pretty important because the final boss has, as you all know, a lot of HP, and Oswald's gonna be one of our 2 characters to take care of that.
Right, that you're like, oh, it's come such a long way. By the way, the game came out 4 months ago, and we already have it down to 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Time to clean up the filth.
People really went to work on this. Oh, whatever.
Take this. That's how it's done.
Oh.
Not a big deal.
Tantrum that was.
Funny enough, like, a step ahead counts as turn 0, and basically, like, if you kill stuff, like, for example, in the first turn, or, like, without getting hit, like, you get bonuses. So, if you kill stuff in the first turn, you get a JP bonus, so... Also, this is a big wormy.
Cleaning
The
time.
danger is overwhelming.
Eat this.
Very well.
Say goodbye to big wormy.
Critical scope.
Yeah, so what critical scope does is that it makes all hits automatically crit for the next 3
That
turns.
seems absurd.
It's as overpowered as it is. Like I told you, I don't know what they were thinking when they made the Inventor class.
What's the downside to Inventor?
So there's actually a downside, is that after you use it, you have to take a specific turn to like to be able to recast that ability. So basically, you kind of have to like charge that ability back.
Gotcha.
But basically, when you
Is
kill
that,
everything
is that
in
cross fight?
no, it's
Oh,
only basically
well.
for that fight. So you know where that's going.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, and it doesn't really matter that there's a cooldown when you can beat everything up within 2 or 3 turns. So we're gonna go get an ability called Peak Performance, what I alluded to. We don't need these weapons, we're gonna sell it. But basically what Peak Performance says is that whenever we're at full HP, we deal 1.5 times the damage. And as some of you might know from like the game, like just speedrunning the game in general, the game generally, like when you want to do big damage, it relies on a lot of like multiplied damage. So like when you do buffs, like they basically give you like a multiplier damage wise. And
Okay.
you stack a lot of buffs, and they multiply on each other, and the damage numbers just go up. They go sky high.
That's the true meaning of RPGs, is abusing mathematics.
Pretty much. Also, we're gonna recruit the hunter. Are you excited?
I am excited. I'm very excited, actually. Give me the bird.
Burb! It's owl. It's the owl. It honestly, you could think of it as little rowlet. It's not green though, but close enough.
I'm listening.
Yeah, this is Ochette. She's got useful lane power abilities, but we won't be doing her story or like taking her much. But we do have to take her on the certain. I picked Mahina. That's her name. So you see the little birdie, the little owl.
Oh,
It's really cute because like the owl or Mahina just follows you around. Let me actually, I gotta do this menu. I gotta remove a step ahead again from people, and then I gotta put peak performance. And you see that owl just like fly around? It's even cuter when she's on a boat. Because like Mahina just sits on a boat. Unfortunately, I don't think I can show it off really easily without really go. Actually, you know what? I probably no, it's kind of hard to, unfortunately. But yeah, we had to take Ochette with us for a bit because we had to grind JP on her because she's gonna be our second merchant.
let's play.
Sorry, I didn't realize that the owl was gonna fly behind us the whole time.
Pretty much. So like, she's like, Mahina's like a companion of Ochette's.
Oh my god, I love...
That's why you should buy it. Mahina's convincing you to buy the game. Play it. You should too, chat. It's an amazing game.
Take this. That's how it's done. Fighting is not what I do.
Okay, if I can get to like, I could probably just like teleport to an area, but it'd be kind of hard. I'll leave it to you all to play the game and see for yourself how cute it is. But there's also like a lot of people who prefer Akala the fox.
Time to clean up the filth.
But I myself am a Mahina enjoyer.
Damn, you're selling me on the game really hard right now.
Something like that.
Now,
I was
also,
like, you know what? One, kind of bounced off it because of the story. So I don't think I'm going to do two. And now you're like, also, you could just start with an owl. And then also, they added a ton of quality of life stuff, so everything moves faster. I'm like, oh, you're speaking my language.
yeah, they really did improve on it. Like, it's amazing, the feedback they took.
Goodness. What a tantrum that was.
But I won't spoil anything more on Ochette, but definitely, she's a good character. She's got really good lines in both English and Japanese. I'd argue her Japanese lines are much better, but English Partitio's too overpowered. I can't not play English. Oh, this is awkward.
Dear. I think
Oh, I don't like that. That's,
So you
that
have
seems
a
like
very
that
high
seems like a
chance
bad
of missing.
trait.
Okay, I'll take that.
flame guide you, or something like that.
It's pretty hard to hit the big kitty. Hi, kitty, by the way. But we hit the big Chungus kitty. The big Chungus kitty gives us a lot of money in JP, so I'm very rich, as if I wasn't rich enough already. But yeah, we went here because we have pretty much a specific amount of things we need to do. We don't need Ochette for now. Sorry, May. Bye, Ochette. She brought the good luck kitty. Is what I'm saying. But yeah, we go here because we want to buy magic items for Oswald. And pretty much soon here, we're not going to use Timonos anymore for damage. We're pretty much just going to use Oswald because he's going to do a heck of a lot of damage with the power of magic. And you're going to hear his lines over and over again for like the next long while, so you better get used to him telling some random poor frog or like some random poor raccoon to study harder. Why he tells that to some poor animals? I don't think we'll ever know. I mean, he mugs people, so I don't think he's beyond just telling random stuff to study harder.
I mean, I don't know. I emphasize with just blurting things out.
If you
Could I say this to this random animal? Debatable.
Sure. So we're gonna do a pretty big menu here. Somewhat big menu here. Give him... I'm gonna give Oswald his equipment. And then I had to basically learn a pretty important skill here called Life in the Shadows. So what Life in the Shadows does is that it basically, you know how EXP and JP Augmenter give you 1.5 times the EXP? It gives you both EXP, 1.5 EXP and JP if you beat encounters at night. So pretty much now from now on, I will be pretty much killing all encounters at night.
Fire. Finished. I've gained valuable insight.
And you just saw Mr. Oswald do 9k damage to that poor little bull. So, yeah, he's gonna do a lot of damage, and he's gonna be our main damage dealer for the big grind. Also, we need to get to this area, you need to have Throne at level 30, or you need to, like, have someone provoke or Hikari challenge them, and he's a pretty tough character. Really?
Okay.
Why am I getting all these octopus and kitties? Why for this run?
Is that necessary in a different category?
No. So, like, thankfully for Octopath 2 so far, Kate and Octopus, which is like a 3% chance, are not necessary to get a good run. Thankfully. But they basically make the category, like, easier to deal with, and in this category, it just makes it so that I grind encounters less.
That was a thing in 1, right? Where you needed to get...
Yeah, for like,
mod?
if you're like grinding for a really good run, you needed a Kate to be able to get evasive maneuvers very early in Octopath 1, but in 2, that's not the case.
That's good. I remember for PC there was a mod to force the RNG, right?
Yeah, there's a legal mod that you can use to force Kitty. But yeah, here we're making our way to Stormhail because we want to grab some items here, and it's pretty close to a area that we'll be going to later.
I've gained valuable insight.
But yeah, pretty much here we're gonna grab some items here, and then we're gonna complete a quest. We're gonna grab the magic nut here, and then we're gonna buy this lady's amulet to complete a quest. It gives us a pretty useful item called the Alluring Ribbon, which increases the chance of us getting encounters, which will be useful when we want to get an encounter, which will be later on. Yeah. But now we're gonna recruit our last character here, Agnia. She's the dancer. Nothing more to say. We had 6, but our 7th was Ochette.
But wait, I thought there's 8.
There is 8. I just recruited the first 5 very fast, and then the last 3 are like you get them a bit later.
I thought there was only. I made an already count. I thought there were only 6 following you.
Well, you can only have 4 out of the 8 out at any time. But yeah, the reason why we want to recruit Agnia now is that there's gonna be... We want to go to this place later, but we also need to unlock it first, and... Contrary to popular belief, you only need 7, so... Basically, you needed your character plus the other 3 plus 3 followers, and this unlocks a place called Infernal Castle, but we won't be going there for now, since the monsters there are very strong and we don't have our main damage dealer to deal with it. So we're gonna kick out Partitio for a good while now. We're gonna bring Hikari back in, as well as Oswald. And we're gonna steal a couple items here. And then next order of business is getting really strong accessory items, so... As well as, like, completing the quest. So, basically, the mini quest that we need to do is is tied in this area called the Nameless Isle, and we need to beat an encounter here. So,
Wouldn't its name be the Nameless Isle?
yes.
Thus, making it a named isle?
Time to clean up the filth.
I don't ask questions when they name this place. Also, my favorite animal, the salamander.
Finished. I've seen worse methods.
Oh, the salamanders are a very big pog.
There's literally emo there. She's like, it's salamander laugh. It's also the salamander Octopath one can do some pretty bad stuff, but that's why it's we call it the funny salamander.
How weak. I've gained valuable insight.
Yeah, here I'm actually gonna set some menu up here. Gonna give everyone back a step ahead because we've got a boss to do. Basically, like, you want to step ahead when, like, you have boss encounters, pretty much,
Ready when you are.
is kind of like the play here.
Does it lose time on encounters, or random encounters, I'm guessing?
Now,
Yeah. If you don't get, like, the character, like, you want to use. So you'll see later on, like, when I do, like, the big grind.
Oh, now go.
Also, yeah, cap damage for only 15k.
That's a lot of some maxed out numbers.
Tantrum that was.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage, but you'll be seeing even more damage soon, TM. Yeah, here we get a really useful item called the Finisher's Clause, which increases the crit damage multiplier that you do. Very useful here. And we also bribe that guy because that's Hikari's ability at night. And we needed to... Basically, bribe is kind of like a money pay version of scrutinize or inquire.
Gotcha. So what's left on like our checklist before we're ready?
Basically, the big things left on the checklist is A, one more item from this place, and then B, pretty much the big grind.
Oh, okay. We're getting close.
We're getting pretty close. So, I actually did like a little mini reroute of this, and because we have so much money, we just basically pay to win.
fire.
They do seem to be quite loaded at the moment.
We've got even more money thanks to Big Kitty. Like, it's ridiculous. So we wanted to go in here because this is the Lost Tribe staff. It's a really good staff that we can get. And pretty much the only, like, the highest powered level staff that we can get without beating people's stories. So I'm gonna do a second encounter here. So yeah. I generally would need to memorize the formula to beat these encounters, but pay to win, baby.
Fire.
But yeah, next coming up, we've got a big boss here, and I have to do a decently sized menu for it. So I'm gonna give Oswald the Lost Tribe staff Finisher Clause here. I need to use Nuts on him for a bit more damage, and then I'm gonna give him basically deal more damage, which is all 5 warrior skills. And this basically lets you do damage beyond cap. So now Oswald can do a maximum of 99,999.
Here I come.
Ah,
You're exposed.
And so because he got that item that raised crits, or raised the damage of crits, he's gonna do a lot of damage.
I didn't realize that there were items that raised your damage cap. That's fun.
Abilities, sorry.
Not this
Or, okay, sure.
no.
Yeah. So basically, Oswald's latent power here is basically like Alphins, if you remember from, viewers remember from Octopath 1. It basically multiplies your spell damage by 1.5 times. It's about as good as it is in Octopath 1, but because, like, we have Oswald as our main damage dealer, despite having Study Foe, which Study Foe takes like 0.5 seconds or so, but he's pretty much like the only really reliable magic damage dealer that we can
Stone
make
of
use
Truth.
of. Yeah, so that's Stone
that,
of Truth. Actually, I gotta go here. So the Stone of Truth. This is gonna be like a long explanation, but I'll try to explain it. But basically, they changed the magic system. In Octopath 1, like, you had immediate access to, like, Firestorm, which is like a double hit ability. But in Octopath 2, they kind of changed it a bit. In that, you only have access to, like, the basic tier spells, such as, like, Fireball, Lightning Blast, or Lightning Bolt, etc. And you have to use spells like Advanced Magic. to be able to have access to Firestorm. But what the Stone of Truth... Go away.
Thinking time.
I don't want you. I'm sorry. You get to live. Little octopus. But basically,
so many of these.
I got really lucky, but basically, what the Stone of Truth does is that it automatically... Because normally, like, when you saw in that battle there, I had to use Advanced Magic to be able to access Tier 2 spells, so just like Fire Blast, or Firestorm, etc. But with the Stone of Truth, I automatically have access to all the Tier 2 spells.
Okay. So it, like, saves you an action, essentially.
Yeah, it saves me an action, and it's very crucial for this fight, because we're going to be going to this fight with very little.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but so I'm pretty much just finishing the series of side quests that we need to do to be able to unlock Galdera here. I'm stealing this because I need it. We've seen 4 octopus. I let 2 of them live. The other 2 have unfortunately perished before Mr.
50-50, either you live or you don't.
Pretty much. So I'm gonna equip this Stone of Truth here, and then so we gotta go to one more big area for like one final item, and then we are basically. But we've got 2 little mini bosses to deal with on the way. So say hello to this mini boss, Mr. Sharky, Mr. and Mrs. Sharky. It doesn't matter. But nothing else to say about Sharky. It's gonna go bye-bye. It doesn't have that much HP. Oswald's gonna do all the damage.
That's a very good shark sprite.
The sprites in this game are really good, especially like the little animation. Oh yeah, and the cultured kid that ran away. There's too many Ks for me to count. I don't get this lucky, basically. This is the good old marathon luck. And so basically we've got another big boss here, but I chose to stick to Knight here just so that I don't mind killing this encounter on the way. Wow, Temenos already has all the JP he needs. Yeah, this is a big friendly neighborhood Drake.
Very well. I think not.
Thinking time.
And then so I'm gonna see 6-fold strike here. So it deals pretty much a once for every weapon. And then do this.
Ready.
Just to break him. Size our friendly neighborhood dragon up.
Here you go.
And then Mr. Oswald here is just gonna nuke the poor dragon. 155k HP, by the way. Or 150k, sorry.
Oh my goodness.
And then he just told the big dragon to study harder. I respect the hustle. So normally I would.
By the way, this will be on the test.
He's gonna quiz all of those poor dragons. So normally I would grind here because I need to hit 8k JP on Temenos, but because we got all the kitties and stuff, I can just skip that. We're not doing that story. So basically we skip the first part of the grind, which is basically getting Temenos to 8k JP, and I can basically oh, I need to go to the... So I'm gonna unequip Temenos because we won't need him for a while. And we're gonna go grab Particio. Because so the reason why, like, this is a consistent route, and what the big difference between a consistent route and the not safe route that I use in my actual PB is that we have 2 clerics. We can, so like, basically when you learn, like, when you get like a job license, which is like the Shrines of Octopath 1, you can actually get additional licenses that allow you to have like more of each like class. So like, for example, here I can get 3 clerics.
You can just have a whole party of inventors.
Yeah, well, it doesn't work for like inventors, but it works only for like basic classes. So like a good example is like for merchants. So quadruple the hired help. So you can spend a lot of money and beat up a lot of stuff. So I skipped the first part, and now I'm gonna do the second part. I'm gonna give Particio the Alluring Belt and Champ's Belt so that we don't get ambushed. And now we basically grind until Hikari and Particio have 9760. Oh, I forgot to take off stuff on people just cause. But yeah, the unfortunate side effect of getting all of these extra encounters is that I actually have to go out of my way to get extra experience because I actually have to be like a minimum of about 40 level 46 and like 1,000 XP, or else I can't beat Galdi. Or I could, but it basically would not be fun. So this grind lasts about, well, since Picard didn't get any benefit, we'll be here a while, so like, we gotta grind about 5.6k more JP, so got a lot of time to chat.
Reduce them to ash.
How you doing today?
I've seen worse methods.
I think everyone here is doing dapper. This run is, you know, despite the little mishap, pretty good pace, I think.
Reduce them to
Yeah, it seems, other than like that one fight, seems very clean.
Yeah, we're gonna spend like 3 minutes here watching Oswald say, reduce them to ashes, or study harder.
You want me to read some announcements while we're chilling?
Sure, you got some time.
I've seen worse.
All right. Juneteenth, our annual event celebrating Black Independence, is coming up June 17th and 18th at 1 p.m. Eastern. Join us as we highlight the amazing talents of the Black speedrunning community. Also, your subs, Prime Gaming subs, gift subs, and bits cheered on the GDQ Twitch channel help support Games Done Quick Hotfix. Please consider subscribing if you enjoy the daily speedrunning content. Thought that would take up more time, so I got like 2 minutes to
No,
go.
you're good. I can talk about the history of this run and just like what goes into equipment
heck yeah.
slot. So like basically, like we chose to get fire weapons, even though you can get ice weapons, which triple ice weapons, but we need Throny as the arms master, and like 2 fire weapons are basically enough. And pretty much, if we want to get ice weapons, we either have to do a Chet story or we have to take a lot of time, like going to a certain area. And getting fire weapons is just pretty much faster. So also, if chat has questions that they want to ask me, like, feel free to ask. Well, we've got a little bit more to go.
Alright, it's open chat question season.
But
I'll read
yeah,
them aloud. It's like Think Fast.
pretty much.
Reduce them to ash.
But in the meantime, yeah, feel free to chime in with questions, but I'll talk about, like, the history. But yeah, like I said, we used to do stories, but now we don't do anymore. Because basically, when we did stories, we were basically overcapping on damage. And the idea behind these optimizations, masterminded by a runner named Quadriceps and Ank, was the idea was behind these optimizations that we basically, like, don't want to do stories, and we just only need to do, like, stuff outside of stories, just because going through stories is slow.
Let's play.
Hey, if people wanted to see Quadra and you do some Octopath 2, where can they check that out?
So you can check me out at twitch.tv/stangen_. And, you can also check out Quadriceps, who is a goated runner of this game and Xenoblade 3 at QUADRAABEPS. I don't know if I can type that out, but maybe someone knows his name.
That wasn't the segue I was trying to go for. Are y'all gonna... Is there gonna be some Octopath 2 content at like an upcoming event, or...?
Ooh, yeah, we've got some... Quadriceps and 013G7, who's on done with grinding, 013G7, who are both like really top runners of this game, will be doing Octopath 2 any percent for a marathon called RPG Limit Break.
Maybe you've heard of it.
Hey, y'all have heard of it. If you love RPGs, it's the place to go. Also, totally not plugging me and May, will be versing each other. Is that even a word?
Racing?
Racing each other in Pokemon, which is totally related to Octopath 2, but you know what?
Well, because like, if you... The hunter, or the ranger, I forgot what their name of the class is, they're kind of just playing Pokemon.
Yeah, so like hunters in this game are basically like Pokemon.
I like my
She's a Pokemon gatherer. Also,
Exactly.
also Oswald mugging people, because why not? And then so after this, we're basically gonna be doing kind of a big series of menus here. We're gonna gear up everyone here. So first order of business is to get everyone here like their basic stuff. So I'm gonna give deal more damage to Throny because she's gonna be our main DPS. I'm gonna give Oswald Warrior, and then because Hikari and Partition are gonna be our second clerics here. I'm gonna teach them all the cleric skills. Say hello to the cleric army. And then I gotta give them their last two appropriate skills here. And then I gotta unequip Particio. I always forget to do this. I almost did it again, but yeah, now we gotta replace a bunch of people. Now we're gonna bring Ochette out for a second so that she can get her merchant skills. Also Throne's final set of skills, and then we're just gonna do this because it's on the way. And then Agni's gonna be inventor. And then now we're just pretty much bringing our main party here for the last little bit, and then we have to go to the inn here because, so funny enough, going to the inn here recharges everyone's LP as well as HP and SP. And then we're gonna do the last little good old bit of robbery because why not?
I like my
One final crime for the road.
Yeah, one good old final crime. This is the Oswald way. Oh yeah.
Did you get caught?
No, I think I might have forgotten some stuff on Oswald, which is not a big deal. I was first, so. But yeah, now here we're gonna do another big menu here since we got the last stuff. So basically, remember what I said about nuts? They're basically very well routed and crucial, so we're gonna give these nuts to Throne.
There's a lot of these here, oh boy.
Magic nuts to Oswald, and then everything else goes to Throne.
Oh, these just boost your stats permanently.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna optimize her. I'm just doing this though mainly because just so viewers can kind of see, and because there's just a lot of going here. Like I can normally do this like very fast.
Yeah, Sanjan is maybe one of the best menuers that I know.
I didn't do his menu. I mean, it does. Oh, you know what? I forgot. Oh no, I've done the thing. See, it's a good thing that I just need to do Ochette's menu. Really, I forgot to do a thing. Thankfully, I caught it though, because basically I have a very like strict process on how I do my menus in the normal run. Because I knew that I didn't give Ochette stuff because, like, I saw that Temenos wasn't equipped. So basically, we reduce this. Should be good, and then it's that. Just do a quick check here. Alright, we're good. So basically, like, how you can handle, like, a lot of these, like, really tough, like, menus is that you can use battles to kind of help you out. So I know I've done something wrong, if I'm not hitting the correct damage, which I figured out I just did because I forgot to put the Giant's Club on Throne, but it's fine because we still kill.
Oh, I love this guy.
Here you go.
It's a big, little blobby. Yeah, Oswald's damage is off. So that's how I know, something's wrong. Can I not give you... Sorry, there's technical difficulties.
Was that it?
Actually, I think it might be fine because we low rolled a lot of stuff. Because Oswald is like level 46, so I think it'll be fine. Sorry, so yeah, basically I used that as a damage check. So basically I was looking for 60k damage on Throne with Abers, and around like 22k-ish damage with Firestorm. And if I know something wrong was done, like if I didn't hit the damage threshold.
Oh hey, I remember this from Zelda.
Yeah, this is a little good old maze. Well, thankfully we don't have to go through the entire thing.
I don't understand what you're walking on.
It's basically kind of like, you know, like the little hidden bridges or whatever you call it. I don't know how you call it, honestly. English. But yeah, now that we have to do... We have to get Arcanist class because it gives us like a really useful like ability for Oswald, which is pretty much required, but... So like, that's why we have to go there. And we also brought Agnia with us because she needs like just a little bit of JP and XP. And then now we're gonna do one final big menu here, which is primarily just give Oswald 4 skills and this. Give this back to him. Just this. Just need to heal him to full so that peak performance has its effect. And then we should be basically done with the menus here. And if I've done everything right, this is basically a skill check. We should be able to beat Gaudi with just this setup.
All right.
If for some reason I messed up something really big, I do have a backup save. But hopefully we don't mess it up. Because if I mess it up, that would be
a very complicated series of menus.
So you're gonna notice that I do like a very... Oh no, I didn't do the thing. I am dreadfully sorry, chat, but good thing I caught it. I forgot to give Ochette her full LP, because normally you're supposed to give her full LP with these lychees. But you know, I'm a very smart person. See, this is why like preparation is extreme. This is why like everything is very precisely routed. And if I forget something, I have to take the walk of shame back to the tavern, which you just saw there.
I will say that is
It's okay, you know, like we're sizing things up. You know, like I gotta spice it up for chat.
In the last like 5 minutes, you've done I think 4 different menus that all are as complicated as like a complicated menu in a speedrun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is very.
Those have all been some major menus.
Yeah, it is very complicated. I'm actually gonna do a check on Oswald to make sure. That might be fine. This is fine. Oh yeah, I can't forget I have to set it tonight. Because I will be very sad. So basically, I have this very specific battle setup here because you're gonna see like everything matters in this fight.
I'm getting all fired up.
Alright.
And so basically what this eye does is... So like there's a lot of little things. We want to give Aelfrix to Agnia because she's going to be our main buffer. And then we give Springer Bits to Ochette. Everything here is very precisely routed. We're going to use Ochette's latent power here, which debuffs our enemies. And then we basically want to get Partitio and... Basically so Aelfrix is actually a very good ability for this because as you see here, we're basically gonna get a bunch of extra turns here, and this fight is tougher than Octopath 1. Just to put that out loud, because I have like 500k HP in 1, but in 2 there's 600k HP.
That's a lot.
So I gotta make sure. Okay, I think I did something wrong. So yeah, as you see here, one little wrong menu.
Thinking.
So I had to figure out what I did wrong. Can you please kill me quick? It's not a big deal. I think I know what I did wrong. Yeah, like everything, every turn, everything is routed to like a very like precise degree. I put the wrong attack, the wrong stuff. I am very smart. Good thing, not this. Alright, we should be good. I'm pretty sure we're still good on time, honestly.
Yeah, we got some space.
130 is still a very generous estimate. Alright, it should be good this time for sure. Oop. I'm just gonna reset that. Okay, let's restart talking about this, shall we? Alright, so we've got
from the top.
phase 1, the eye, 600k HP, these ads, if you hit it if you basically hit it with like regular damage and not like an attack that it's weak to, it will deal recoil damage to you and it hurts.
Oh, I love recoil.
We're gonna use Ochette's LP because it'll debuff the enemy a decent bit. And then, because they only have 4 shields, Beast Lanes will break them.
No.
And then it's very hard to explain this in everything, but like, just think that everything is like very tightly routed. But Aelfric's, because we want the extra turns. So one interesting thing about Aelfric's is that basically it's a set order. So if you notice why I had like each character as a very particular order, it's because we basically like the Aelfric's order is like reversed. So like if everyone had Aelfric's, it'd be Agnia, Ochette, Oswald, and Partitio. So the main thing that we want is Agnia last and Oswald second. So like that's why I have that very specific turn I was able to get. And then we use this Ancient Curse Talisman here to debuff for 2 turns. So I'm looking for around that kind of damage. And then now we're basically just gonna spam a bunch of reinforcing jams. By the way, Assassin's heals you when it does hit, so also very useful to have.
Oh, that's a big number.
Yeah, there's a lot of big numbers. You're gonna see a lot of big numbers coming from Oswald. And then with all this damage, if we've done enough, Oswald will basically hit the eye into red HP. And this is the final phase, but you might think 16 shields is a lot, but don't worry, we've got the stuff for it. So we're pretty much very precisely routing this to like exact numbers. So you'll notice why like I grabbed all the elemental weakness, and it's because we both need assassins and of course overpowered inventor abilities. So what elemental bomb bottles is that it does 1 hit times 4 per each element. So 4 times 2 equals 8. There's your math there.
Ah.
And then with all this damage, this is just enough to defeat the eye. And that's phase 1 done.
Oh my goodness.
And don't worry, there's a second phase and it's even more fun. And so, you might notice why there's 2 clerics here.
Here, I owe you.
And you're gonna see Throne A, if I did this menuing right, deal big damage. So each of the we want to kill the ads first, they have 150k HP. Also, you're gonna see a lot of Aber Prince of Thieves. So this is the reason why it's consistent, because we have 2 clerics here. To take care of, any mishaps.
I'll take this.
And then you'll see Throne A just deal 50k damage each. And that's a lot of damage. Also, level 1 Cassie going in. We've got the supplies. She's got the damage. So say goodbye to the ads. And we're gonna throw some Aelfric's on people. Oh, shoot. Okay, my bad. I was supposed to cast that on Temenos. Oh dear.
Uh-oh. Is this fixable?
No, it's not fixable. Unless I had a good turn order somehow. I'll just, thankfully, we gotta size things up a little bit. I don't need to do the menu again. So the main mistake I did there was, accidentally, Aelfric'ing Throne A again, which I was not supposed to do. I was supposed to cast it on Temenos, so... My bad for, the kinda bad, poor gameplay, but... I hope chat is entertained at least, question mark? I normally don't do this bad.
You also normally don't have to explain it while doing it, which I feel like does make it harder.
There's so much going on in this fight, like routing-wise, like, it's very hard to explain, but I suppose you all can see me actually do this a little bit faster. But I think we'll still be underestimate, right? Question mark?
I think so.
Yeah.
Chat says they're entertained, so...
Good enough for me.
That's all that matters at the end of the day.
I think it's... I think, like, even the best runners, like, making mistakes is good because, it just shows us that the best runners are human.
It's true. It's true.
Like, we make mistakes, it's really hard to explain this, like, very well, like, while doing this fast. Like, unfortunately, it's not one of my skills, but...
Yeah, I think you're doing a very good job, for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Thinking time.
But you know what? As long as chat is entertained, I'll take it.
And like, again, for context, Sanjan does have the world record in this, so I think that's enough proof that you can beat up that eye.
Yeah, got the credentials, but you know, sometimes it just do be that way sometimes.
That's it.
But yeah, like, you'll see, like, just, like, no items are spared, pretty much, but yeah. We do actually, you know, funny enough, we do need the vet's damage. You know, pay to win still wins.
That is true. That is true.
That's it.
You gotta
And
get all.
yeah, we can thank our good old friend, Step Ahead, because without Step Ahead, I think this category would be, like, twice as long, let's be real.
Oh god. Yeah, with how not underleveled you are and how hard this boss seems, it is very impressive that it's doable this
Yeah.
fast.
Normally, like, I think most people kill it at, like, level 80 plus or something. I personally,
It
my
seems like
casual
a-
playthrough killed it at level 60, but it was kind of a struggle.
That seems like it'd be a long, drawn-out fight.
It was. My fight casually was a long, drawn-out fight. It was not great.
Like, how long are the notes for this fight?
Let's see. The notes I'm using, I use spreadsheet notes. They're about
Okay.
1.1k lines long.
What? For this fight?
No, not for this fight, but like
Oh,
for the entire
okay.
run.
I was like, what?
No, this isn't Pokemon Coliseum.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a call fight.
But yeah, you're gonna see Throne roll your face on the keyboard for good old Avers. 50k damage,
As a snake.
no problem. Actually, like there's been a casual video where someone did this at level 1 with like full gear. All right, let's make sure I do this menu right. I promise I'm smarter than this. All right, Kevin knows Aelfric's blessing on himself. And yeah, as I said, reverse. Basically the order of Aelfric's is static, also including Hienka, but we don't use Hienka. So it's Temenos, Throne, Cassie, always.
Here you go.
And then, so, the big gimmick about Galdera is that Galdera has 20 shields in each turn, like he'll regenerate some shields, but spoilers, we're gonna break them all.
Time for your medicine.
Using good old overpowered concocts. So what the concoct does is that, basically I do a series of concocts that,
Watch me. You're over.
that put my characters ahead of Galdera, as well as give me free BP. So you can, I think you all know how overpowered that is. Also, Temenos' latent power, he can break through like shields without like doing like the regular break stuff.
Here you go.
And then so because this is a 4-turn fight, we actually need to do a little bit more here. So we're gonna put give Throne some strength here. Also, Galdera has like 250k HP here, but yeah, you're gonna say goodbye. Say goodbye to his HP. Just like that. Time's coming up, by the way, very soon, when the Spurring Ribbon text comes up. So, pretty soon here. And right about time.
All right. I think you like exactly hit your estimate.
Oh, I hit my estimate. That was... What was the time?
Or maybe you're just over.
Just over.
But honestly, quite good given that you beat the super boss of this game that fast. Let's see, what's the... You got a 130-12.
130-12? I mean, I'll take it. I mean, we hit estimate. You know what? I count that as underestimate. I'll just say that.
I agree. I like that mindset.
It's
Sandra, thank you
underestimate
so
in
much.
spirit.
Exactly. Thank you so much for being here to show off this very sick run. Do you have any shout-outs you'd like to do?
I'd like to give a shout-out to the Octopath community. Awesome people. Very chill community. They're very happy to help, as mentioned before. If you have any questions about like this category, like we'll answer them. I know a lot about this category as well as the others do. The speedrun might not show it, but it's okay. I talked a lot about the category. That's what matters. And then I'd like to give a big shout out to Quadriceps and Ink for pretty much routing a lot of this. Like, they put a lot of work in, and it took them about like a month and a half or so to get like a base route working. But yeah. And then shout out to you for hosting this wonderful hotfix show.
Shout out to
course.
you for being here.
Yeah, I hope, chat, I hope you enjoyed, you know. I hope to size it up a little bit, you know. At least you all got to see, like, everything that can happen within, like, realistically. Especially if it's, like, your first time learning this. Like, I've been through it. Like, I've messed up this fight, like, so many times. Like, everything
really
matters.
hard.
It's, like, once you, like, understand everything, like, it's not bad. It's just hard for me because I had to explain it, and then, you know, like, I get very much to explaining it, but, like, this, it was pretty much, like, once you, like, really understand it, like, you'll just be wowed at, like, how, like, consistent this category is if you do the route I'm doing, as well as, like, how much thought was put into, like, every single little thing. Like, nothing goes wasted in a speedrun, pretty much.
Well, thank you so much for being here to do a run with us. And hey, if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to press the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel. Also, go to twitch.tv/gamesdonequick if you're interested in looking at our live content starting weekdays at 7 p.m. Eastern and weekends at 1 p.m. Eastern. That's right, the Hotfix will return tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I won't see you there, but you'll see more great runs and you'll see more great content here only on the Hotfix. Thanks, everyone.